Hello, and welcome everybody to the long-awaited episode 4 of the Quest Collective Behind the Dice. I am Valdez, the Dungeon Master of Campaign 1. At this moment, we have two other people that have not arrived yet. But thank you all so much for joining, for those who I see have joined us. And to remind us, Behind the Dice is a little recap of our past campaign before we moved on to officially live streaming our current campaign, which we decided to officially call Campaign 1. So we have Campaign 1, Campaign 0, Campaign -1, and Campaign -2, which of course -2 being the very first one we've done. And of course, with me, like I said, I have only one player at this moment, and that's Albert. Those of you who don't know, Albert is one of our players who is mute in real life due to a serious injury that they had, forcing them to be mute. So Albert clearly says hi. I'm reading what he says to me. And yeah, so I don't recall where we left off, but we do have other players joining in. So before we go to where we left off on the last episode and explaining what happened, if you have any question, go ahead and shoot a question, and let us know what you want answered on past campaigns or basically what we've done so far. Someone asked who is the best player right now. Well, that's complicated to answer, but if it's by my opinion, I would say right now the best player is probably Luke Raven in terms of knowing Dungeons and Dragon rules for us dungeon masters who are more homebrewed. Then we have Frank and Sergeant Murphy, who are both comedic ones. And they basically give us laughs. Maybe, assuming could be better. Who knows? Anyway, I did alert other people that they are that we are starting our live stream now. So if they manage to join, great. If not, not a problem. We'll try to have this live stream for about at least an hour to an hour 30 minutes. Because it has been long, and I actually did forget what was the last thing we've done. But I suppose we could go on ahead and talk a little bit more about what happened so far during the first campaign we've done as a group together, which I believe that first campaign is -2. And I would say that where we probably last left off is I believe we spoke about the dragon rulers as well as a alternative crystallized world. I might be forgetting, I might be wrong, but that's how far I remember. So I would say that the next thing that has happened so far um, would be where the group, yeah, actually, we might be ending up recapping this part of the campaign. But I believe the group next location was the Elder Gods War dungeon, or the Elder Gods War storyline, is where basically the Elder Gods decided to wage war against life itself because the mortals have stolen their eggs, a important artifact. Well, not an artifact, but is an important tool to the Elder Gods, which helps them with their next cycle of life. Basically, a form of reincarnation. They basically transport their memories into these eggs, and then a younger version of them come out, devour everything on the planet, everything, and then start destroying every planet available in the known universe. This is called the Great Revision. So with the Great Revision, it is something that we in this cycle were trying to stop, and we succeeded. But during that, we had to fight against the army of the Elder Gods, as they were sending their own forces to try to reclaim the egg, because they couldn't do it there on their own, because we found a way, like in the game story, there was a way to ward off the Elder Gods' magic with a similar power source that just nullifies their interference unless they're looking to destroy the area, but that destruction would have gone on ahead, and it would have destroyed the eggs or harmed the eggs somehow. So with that, the Defenders of Gielinor, which was their name during the time, had went on ahead and joined the forces of Gielinor, and there were several forces from the Temple Knights, a knightly order that are like CIA style. From the Crux Equal, Crux Equal. I don't know, I might be saying it wrong, but it's a druid order, another secret druid order that have their own knights as well. Several Guardians of Guthix, and then the generals of most of the gods themselves from the old God War era. So around those war, we had each of the defenders fight their own battle and continue with their own story plot and everything. Sometimes we would try to keep everything in check to make sure everything was right there. We try to make sure that whatever happens with our sessions also something within the game itself, every update gets included. So I would say around that time is when we did a plot called the Dragon Rulers. It's a plot that I would love for the current Dungeon Master Steve to explain, but like I said, he isn't here at this moment, so maybe in episode 5. But during the Gods War era, we did have one player death, which was Marcus, who right now who was played by Albert. So it was basically a self-sacrifice committed to save Hobrock, who I am playing at this moment, but obviously it was somebody else playing Hobrock. So yeah, it was our very first death that we looked at and we're like, oh wow. Let's see. So around that time we had a plot aside from the Dragon Ruler called the Jorgamunders. basically the Norse mythology giant snake, but it was a different kind. It was basically, well, it's not a different kind per se. Like, there's two versions of it in the RuneScape continuity. One of them is spelled differently and probably pronounced, while the other one sort of matches the actual Jorgamondo. Give me one moment. I see Albert trying to say something. Albert wanted to say that during the time, the reason why he got Marcus killed, because it was something that he wanted to do. He wanted to get Marcus killed so he could try to focus on a second character that he has created. Because at the time he had two characters that he was playing as. One as a paladin fighter, I believe it was. Well, a paladin fighter in terms of that's what would have been, or I think that's what it was during the time. And then another one was a ranger paladin. So he wanted to focus mainly on the paladin, on the ranger paladin itself. So around that time, and yes, it has been a good time. Like, it's always a good time. So I believe it was around that time that we went on ahead and we had the Jorgamondo plot. Yes. Huh? Oh, thank you so much for the hydrate thyself. I actually do need that. Thank you. So yeah, drink up if you haven't. So give me one moment. Ooh, thank you so much. I actually needed that. But yeah, so on the plot, we basically found out that there were a cult of the Elder Gods, basically formed. So there was a cult of the Elder Gods that were formed during the whole war. Originally, it was supposed to be ran by a former Ham leader, a human against monster leader. But they decided against worshipping the Elder Gods because they learned what the Elder Gods really were after witnessing the war that was going on. So it was around there that even though he tried to disband the idea, others already followed behind, and so he basically left a big trail behind him. So during that time, the followers of the Elder Gods wanted to help them, believing that life itself should not continue with how cruel life is and how dangerous things are. Some believe that maybe the elders would spare them and give them a grander purpose in life, while others believe that life should have ended completely. So it was the defenders of Gielinor's job to try to locate them and stop them. And yeah, it was around here where they had encountered a lot of powerful warriors and knights, as well as the cult leaders themselves, because there were 4 leaders, each one wearing the armor that represented the Elder Gods, but also had powers that almost resembled the Elder Gods. So for example, we had Jazz. She is known to manipulate time, so the cult leader would manipulate time with Jazz. There was Fool, who would manipulate lava, so fire and lava, earth. Wind, which was ice, so basically ice abilities. And Beck, who was earth and nature in a way, so it was basically that too. So it was basically there that the group were trying to figure out their way, trying to fight through, trying to stop them, all of that stuff happening was basically the group trying to ensure that they did not interfere with the war, because they were attempting to summon a creature that they believed could have helped ensure the victory, which was the Jorgamundr, the World Serpent. I should probably just leave to that. The World Serpent itself. So during the World Serpent arc, the group eventually finds out that it wasn't really a World Serpent, but it was a giant creature from another reality. Not a reality, sorry, from another world called the Shadow Leviathan. It is a huge creature that, just like the World Serpent in the legend within the game, is large enough to engulf the entire world and is full of hatred. Let's see, what else can I remember? So basically, it's basically that it was a Shadow Leviathan from a reality, from a realm called Erebus, which there was basically a world filled with shadow anima, a toxic substance that could basically kill us if we get too close, unless you are attuned to it in a way, or somehow made immune. Or not immune, but probably resistant. So the group finding that out, one of the leaders were corrupted by the Shadow Leviathan, and so they became a giant mutated snake themselves, which was a very hard fight that did injure a lot of our player characters to basically being mutilated and requiring prosthetic. But yeah, it was around all that I would say that the group really had a challenge during that time. Maybe not a big challenge, but it was a challenge nonetheless. Let's see. What else do I remember? Albert, do you remember anything else from that plot? Oh, and to answer a question, yes, it would be somewhat the same legend from the Norse mythology, World Serpent, but we don't have that much information around them because they're mostly just a mythical creature. Albert said that he remembers basically everything that I just mentioned, and to inform you guys that yes, eventually we did have a moment where we had a plot twist reveal on who was the one pulling the strings, tricking people into believing the elder gods can be worshipped and Jorgamundr could help, was an eldritch entity known as the Patron. A demonic entity that got corrupted, a demon that got corrupted by a powerful eldritch entity known as Xaw-Tak, which is spelled Xau, hypothesis, TAK. So I'll type it in real quick. Give me a moment. Basically like that, for those of you can see it. I forgot to continue pressing my press to speak. But yeah, so the group found that out and eventually had to return and report this to at least the kingdom leaders at the moment. And after that, the group basically returned to fighting in the battle, giving their assistance and helping where they can. I think the final thing that I could say from this is that we basically focused on ensuring that our players had fought against the army and everything, and yeah, it's how the way that we used to do it before we started doing weekly, because a lot of us started getting busier, and before we went on ahead and found a different approach to other things, like what's the word? Basically weekly session. I'm sorry. So yeah, I think that's all I can give as terms of storytelling, and we're pretty much almost in the end there. So please do feel free to go on ahead and keep adding information. Keep telling me what you want to know. Not adding, sorry. Go ahead and ask your questions. Let me know what you would like to know. And it can be from this session, from the recap campaign. I'm sorry. It can be from the recap campaign, or it can be from like campaign 1, since I know we are very much behind. So go ahead and ask your questions, and I will be waiting. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that question there. So Xaltok is an eldritch entity, a unknown creature from Erebus, who are known as a titan, a somewhat leader of the realm of Erebus. They they're powerful. They're basically Shadow Miasma. They are basically Erebus itself, in a matter of speaking. Uttering their name usually starts making people insane, but we managed to weaken the influence in game, like the game itself, not the role-playing session. But I would say that that at least a wisdom saving throw would still be needed if their name is mentioned. What else is there? What else is there? I think that's all I can give about Xaltok without spoiling too much of who they are if you don't play the game. But they are very powerful and very dangerous. They're basically the Cthulhu of the game. I think we already went over this of who they are, but yeah, they're the Cthulhu of this game. But more Cthulhu, whatever you call it. Yeah, they're basically that dangerous and that powerful. And to answer another question, I do miss doing the role playing like that. I would say I don't miss it a lot, but I miss it just enough to be like, nostalgic. Like just going back, remembering and going, yes, down memory lane. Back when I wasn't so old. Yes, I'm so old. But yeah, it's all fun. It was fun. But moving to Dungeons and Dragons now, and sticking to weekly thing helps a lot, keeping the mind fresh, rejuvenated, and calm, in other words. Yes, it is. It's actually really good to look back into it from time to time. It's very fun to look back into these type of things and look at it like, oh wow, yeah, this is like a good old trip down memory lane. It's really fun. Um, I would say that if I could bring it back, I would, but I don't know how I would do it because I want to make sure that you, as the viewers, get to see how we do our things through role playing and everything. I would like you guys to see all that. So it's one of those situations where it's, it's right there, and I want to make sure that you guys see everything that we do. So we might, just use it as weekly sessions from now on to be able to put everything in there, and that's it. Sometimes we won't now, considering that we're treating this more as a Dungeons and Dragons session and not a RuneScape on point game where you complete this thing, now you can spend like a whole week probably doing something else, stuff like that. Thank you so much. That actually means a lot. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for saying that. It means a lot. I'm so sorry about that, folks. I'm pretty sure a lot of you saw the disconnecting. I have a weather issue at this moment still, and yeah, so I've been getting a lot of disconnection. Again, I'm so sorry. Alright, so now that I got this whole mess out of the way, I do see a lot of you are on, but there's a lot of them on commercial break. But to continue for the recording session, but yeah, it's a nice thing to go through at this moment. It's very nice, very calming too. I love that we can do this without issue, you know? It's pretty fun.
Sorry I'm late.
Oh, hello there. I believe we're still on an ad break. And holy cow, you look so big. Look at this. The evilest dragon of them all is covering almost the entire screen, everybody.
Wow.
Anyway, basically I was just going through the whole bit of campaign. One, basically going through everything that we've done so far.
Okay.
I don't remember everything, but yeah, basically, we're almost done recapping session campaign -2. Basically using your idea there, Steve.
Hmm.
Well, actually, I just remembered. I don't think we ever did this, but I believe during the Elder Gods War, we did do the dragon rulers plot, right?
Yeah, but I think we already talked about the Dragon Ruler plot.
Hey, see, a part of me does not remember.
Yeah, that seems like a you problem there, Chief.
Why you gotta be so mean?
Well, you're making my job a lot harder.
How do I make your job harder?
Gee, I don't know. The fact that you left out so many things for our new player.
You see, that sounds like a you issue, because you should have reminded me and made sure.
Gee, it's my fault for not checking in with you sooner. Got it.
Yeah,
Great.
You see, I'm glad you admit.
Yeah, totally. And I assume it's also my fault that you keep making new stuff for our system that makes it more complex and harder to understand. We're definitely in a fine place. Anyway, be right back.
Take your time, and somebody else agrees. Anyway, I know it's sarcastic. Shoot. I know somebody's gonna go, he's just being sarcastic. I know. We're fucking around with each other. But yeah, if we did talk about the Dragon Rulers plot, then yeah, it's on episode 3. But if not, yeah, we're still here. And yeah, like I said, I don't want to continue too much, but go ahead and continue asking your questions about the game or about campaign -2, which was our campaign 1 before we went streaming.
Okay.
Welcome back. Just basically telling people if they have questions to ask, I guess.
Alright. Any questions yet?
Not yet.
Hey. Apologies in advance, everyone. My brain hurts.
Oh, actually, there's a question for you.
Okay.
As a dungeon master, what would be the hardest part of dungeon mastering?
That is a tough one. Like, one part is definitely encounter design, because sometimes it's really hard to properly gauge how difficult an enemy actually will be. Like, I'm not sure if anyone noticed, like, during the early parts of the campaign where I almost killed people repeatedly because I pitted them against way too tough an enemy. But, yeah, so one part is that, because challenge rating is really hard to gauge as a difficulty modifier. And then obviously that also leads into the issue of making it difficult enough, as well as how slightly changing a character's stat or an enemy's stat block will affect their difficulty. So, encounter balance, I think, is one of the harder parts. And then, the other hard part worth mentioning is definitely trying to design the adventure in such a way that you have a plan, but at the same time, you give yourself enough flexibility that when your players go off script, you're able to go roll with it, as well as still provide them the feeling of like they are having a meaningful impact on the story with their choices. I remember one of my later part in campaign 2. Are we calling it campaign 2 still, or are we calling it campaign -2? I can't remember anymore. Anyway, in one of the campaigns, there was a subplot that I did, and I had so many plans for it, but ultimately, I didn't actually get to do as much as I would have liked. Like, I wrote a lot of extra stuff that didn't get used, and that was a little discouraging, admittedly. So that's why with this campaign, I've tried not to be as thoroughly detailed with what they need to do, so that way they have a bit more freedom to do what they want and to basically help give me an idea what they want to see in the game, you know? Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. It does. At least to me it does, but yeah, no, that's understandable. And
Anyway,
the question is also addressed to me too, but go ahead and finish. You were still saying something else?
No, I was just going to say I was going to be right back. I have to check on something. But, so I'll be right back.
All right. And yeah, I guess for me, it would it would be the whole idea of trying to set the stat blocks properly, because I tend to have it's just like him, the whole idea of making it too challenging. I don't have that problem when it comes to ensuring it's challenging. My problem usually revolves around the idea that, hey, look at this, I am making this very challenging for you, but you're basically walking all over my character at this moment. Not character, my encounter, my boss, the encounter enemies. You guys are doing heavy damages, and that's usually my mistake, and one of the hardest things as well, is ensuring that the encounters that I make survive more than just 3 to 4 rounds. I would like them to survive longer, so like that my players can feel the challenge. And usually sometimes that happens. It's not that it is, so just to clarify, it's not that my party clear the whole thing quickly. It's more so I notice that the HP drains dramatically, that I had to boost the HP sometimes just for them to live long enough, or I have to adjust or quickly add a mechanic where the AC, the armor class itself, is boosted enough to keep it in the level of, okay, so now he's a little bit, there for you, so you're gonna struggle a bit, type of stuff. And another thing I would say would probably be the fact that I guess it's the damage output. Like for me, it's like I want to make sure my players feel this villain, this arc villain, is stronger and strong enough that they need to focus. It's really hard. And one of the biggest I wish to make this better in the past. I'm gonna assume you mean like moments in the past that we recall that could have been better. I feel like for me, it could have been campaign -1, which was campaign 2 at the time. I feel like that campaign could have been done better because I suffered through the mistake that Steve did when he was being a dungeon master on that side story where he got a bit I forgot the word that he used. Hey, welcome back.
Yes, I think the word you're looking for is discouraged.
Yeah, discouraged. Thank you. As when he got discouraged, he it basically the same thing happened to me. We've had back then we had a lot of players, so a lot of them were leaving due to real life moments, getting promotion in their jobs, and so on. Like, congratulations to them if you guys are watching this. Oops, sorry. If you guys are watching this, congratulations on that promotion. But it did discourage me a lot because I had a whole plan and everything just for them to up and bounce. And it's not like I'm not saying this as a way to hate them, but more so like, it hurts that they had to leave, but it was understandable. So I wish that campaign could have been done so much better. So much better. And the question is, what was the biggest, I wish I could have done this better in the past.
I think part of my problem with, I think definitely the sort of side plot I had did for campaign -1, I think I definitely could have ran that a bit better. I think my issue was I kept trying to dangle things in front of them to, hint at important plot points for later down the line, and it kept distracting them from the main plot. So I think I've learned an important lesson that if you dangle something in front of D&D players, you have to be ready for them to actually look into it right then and there. So that is one part of it, and I think the other part of it, let's see, what was the word for it? I lost my train of thought there for a second. And yeah, I think the other part was, I feel like because I tried having little dangling hints that ended up distracting from the main plot, it sort of drew things out so that way I felt a little rushed. So that is kind of the thing I'm trying to avoid, is to basically not feel rushed while still going at a decent pace. Like, I think at this point, this campaign, I think has a pretty good pace going on right now. Like, it's fast, but not like I can't keep up. I think I can keep up pretty well. I just need to be a little bit more on top on making the battle maps in time.
No, the battle maps design is every dungeon master's curse. Don't worry. But yeah, no, I get what you mean. That's how I kind of felt with campaign campaign 0, which was previously campaign 3. You like a spoiler alert, but they finished that campaign really quick. Like, I never expected them to go straight to the BBEG.
We decided to speed run. Basically, we no-clipped to the floor and we ended up in the bad guy's main fortress.
Yeah, and instead of preparing, they said, might as well walk in. It was a challenge for them, but it was a fun challenge. Like, it was a really fast pace, but it was a situation where we had fun doing it. So it's not like, oh no, but it was fun.
Yeah, it was tricky, but I think we did pretty well, honestly.
Oh yeah, you did. You guys did. And especially now with the campaign 1, you guys are going at a very good pace. You are going a little fast, but it's not something that I didn't count for. So I managed to add more stuff, and I still have more stuff to add anyway. So we're
I
good.
am
We're
speed.
good. Oh, here's a question. What is the funniest moment where we had to look at our players and say, a rock falls on top of you, killing you all?
I feel like something like that happened recently. I'm trying to remember what it was, though.
I know there's a lot of moments for that. For me, it's a lot of moments.
Unfortunately, D&D players are very good at essentially finding little things to win the fight in ways that are at times frustrating.
I can name one right now.
Yeah, what's yours? I think I killed him.
No, my daughter dropped something. Give me one quick moment. Steve, you go on ahead and recall your moment, because I have my moment right there recalled.
Yeah, well, I think... trying to think now. It was fairly recent, too. Sorry, this is what happens when I'm not at my absolute best. Oh yeah, I think it was against the fight with Richelieu a couple sessions ago, and the party like just kept evading all my attempts to create difficult terrain or slow them down. Like, basically, more or less, I was trying to use the terrain like a good DM, and they were just like, terrain? Who's she? And more or less, I had to lightning bolt them. I couldn't drop a rock on them, but I had to lightning bolt them. And if I were to guess, one of the times that we probably pissed off David was when we repeatedly blew up the ceiling on the boss and killed it instantly. To the point that I think he made one of the bosses we fought immune to ceiling damage. Like...
I'm back, sorry.
Yeah, alright, this will be my turn to go right back, because I'm doing something in the back.
Oh, yes. So back to where I was saying. So one of the funniest moments is it's not my fault. I did not think this would be a thing. But it's also not my fault that everybody decided to give him a chance to make a wish. So Sergeant Murphy used to play a character named Thorny, who was a cabbage monster, who had a talking cabbage that was a demon mimic in disguise. We killed it. Well, they killed it. But in the end, he wished for it back. With the same memory of the old mimic cabbage. And the same ability of the old mimic cabbage. So yeah, isn't that fun? I wanted to kill him for reviving the thing. I mean, so did everyone else, but that was one of the funniest moments of, you know what, just, it eats you all, you're all dead. Albert responded saying, to be fair, it is also your fault because you were the one that suggested the idea. And yes, I did suggest him the whole idea of the mimic cabbage because he wanted to have a cabbage you could talk to, so I suggested him a demonic mimic cabbage. Just go ahead. First of all, I'm not evil. I'm a dungeon master. There's a difference. Oh, hey, here's a question. What is the one thing you miss from the old system?
I missed having all the skills. Like, I eventually came up with an idea to group skills, so that way you could call for a more generic check that lets you use multiple skills in place, and you would just roll whichever you had highest or you preferred to use, and then figure out a way to make that work.
Yeah, you know, the skill managing one was a nice touch. I think the other thing that I missed too was the incredibly high dice that we were able to roll. Because back then, like we said, we used to roll like a big old numbers of dice. But yeah, no, it was really the dice and the skill management, because we basically incorporated RuneScape skill as a means to roll. So let's say for prayer, that would be your charisma. Thieving would be a basic
Sleight of hand, stealth.
sleight of hand and stealth, yeah. And then agility would be dexterity and acrobatic type of stuff. So it was one of those situations which was fun to do, but I am glad we got into D&D because it is kind of simple. But it is something I do miss, like the old system, having that whole organization set up, I guess. I don't know, call me a organized freak, but I kind of like it. Oh wow, that is some heavy rain. Yeah, so there was like a small thunderstorm that I just heard. I'm actually gonna end it here because my internet is acting a bit buffy. And I did fix my streaming problem. For those of you who want to know what happened last streaming session, I had my whole recording thing to record our streaming session in 4K. I don't know how, I don't know why, but my computer was dying and it was begging for mercy, and it was begging for the sweet release of death. So because of that, I was unable to have a stable stuff. But now it's stable, it's just now it's my weather that's causing the issue, and I don't want to have my weather like turn off my lights and then I lose everything. So, any last thing any of you want to say to the viewers?
Remember, don't put off a day what you could do tomorrow, because what is today if not yesterday's tomorrow?
Yep. Albert says to have everybody have a great Friday, to be safe, don't drink and drive, don't do anything you're going to regret. And then I'm going to say, I see you all Friday. See you all tomorrow, Saturday. And of course, for those of you who are here. And I hope to see you all in the next episode of our Behind the Dice for your questions and so on. Goodbye, everybody, and take care. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.